All right. So good afternoon, everyone. We're pleased to host our friend and local Texan, as I found out recently, Kaneen Reese from the U.S. Census Bureau, who will share information about the Bureau's data.census.gov platform. So we welcome you, Kaneen, here at home in Texas. Kaneen is the chief of the Dissemination Outreach Branch at the U.S. Census Bureau, where she engages internal and external stakeholders in the future of data dissemination. Kaneen joined the Census Bureau in 2005 as a survey statistician and worked on various surveys and programs as an income and poverty analyst. For the past 5 years, she's been responsible for the communications and outreach efforts for the Census API, Microdata Access tool, and the data dissemination platform, data.census.gov. So thanks again for joining us, Kaneen. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Monica. I appreciate it. Let me share my screen really quickly. And there we go. All right, thank you so much for having me. I'm always excited to meet with the Texas Data Center and obviously to talk about data.census.gov. So I'm here with my colleague, Alexa Sierra, and she will be looking through the chat along with Monica and Janine. So if you have any questions, please type them up and we'll definitely discuss them afterwards. But wanted to kind of blow through and just kind of jump in and start talking about, and actually before I start, I'm going to, just in case there's any issues with, oh gosh, hold on one second. Just in case there's any issues with the presentation, I'll just go ahead and get off. Oops. Oh, I don't even know how to do it now, so I'm just going to go ahead and just go forward. Hopefully it won't upset my presentation, but okay. All right, back to
really quick. I got a message that speakers aren't working. Can you all put something? I got one message. I hope everyone can hear.
Okay.
If anyone, okay, I hear that some folks can hear. Okay, just want to make sure. Seems like most folks are able to hear. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, please stop me if there are any issues. Okay, hold on. Back to this one. And it's not, oh, it's not working again. So hold on. There we go. Okay. Okay, from here, just wanted to start in, gosh, I'm having so many problems, but sorry about that. Thanks for bearing with me. Just wanted to go ahead and start going forward with just how to use the site. We wanted to start with just using a single search bar. That definitely trips people up when they see just a single search bar. What exactly do I do? Well, we also have something, and I'll show you what to do, but then we also have something in the advanced search, which is really just a fancy name for the faceted filter experience, almost that e-commerce that you may be more familiar with, where you're drilling down through categories and filters. Showing you how to use the advanced search, and then also going to show you how to use both. Sometimes it's easy to use both, especially if you know a table ID or something specific, and then you can kind of drill down. So we're going to use some examples with that. I also really like, with the decennial census being released, excited for the next release. We now have the redistricting data. So the big thing with decennial, there's a lot of big things, but one of them is the block level data. And so showing you how to find your block using our mapping software. It's always nice to talk about what your blocks are, but I dare say many people know exactly what their block is. So showing you just how a way you can find it. Then looking at things that I really like to do. I like to look at things across geographies, maybe all counties in Texas, or maybe all tracts in a county, and also looking at across time. And then I'm going to look at some industry data. We're using our NAICS codes for a zip code in Texas, showing you how you can find that level of granularity for that. And then I want to talk a little bit about Microdata Access. We were talking a little bit before. It's such a powerful tool, but kind of showing you when you need to use it and giving you an example, and then giving you lots of different resources. If you're still interested and want different additional information, we'd love to help you out with that. All right, so I'm just going to jump back in, and there we go. Start with the first question, which is getting started using the single search. So my example is using 2020 census tables for Laredo City, Texas, and showing the geographic profile. I'm going to skip over to data.census.gov. Okay, and so the URL of data.census.gov is all that you need to do. So from the first part, this is what I was talking about, that single search bar, and then it's, it's quite blank and stark.
Hi, Kenny. I'm
Yep.
sorry to disturb. We don't see the search bar.
Oh, okay. You don't see data.census.gov? Okay. Let me figure out why not. Hold on one second.
We just see your slides right now.
Okay, so I'm not sure why. Okay, well, let me try to figure it out. 1 second, please. So that, and then, okay, so I'm going to share again, and I want to share my screen. And then see if you can also see. Are you able to see data.census.gov now?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much for stopping me, and I didn't go on and on and on. Okay, so our first question was to look at just a single search. I always like to start with the geography. Most of us know a city, state, someplace that we're just wanting to have some interest in. You can always add a topic that you might be interested in, but always a great way to just start out. So I'm just going to put Laredo, Texas. You see some options there. You can choose the options, or you can go ahead and just press enter. That little picture out. Okay, so it takes you to what we call our all results page. So if you see at the top, it says all, and then there's little tabs for tables, maps, and pages. This is definitely trying to be more of a search engine design where it shows you all of the different options. You've just told us you're interested in geography, so we're going to show you what we have to offer. So the first are census of population, and so we really, we're trying to show total population for Laredo from the 2020 census. Then you have table options going down. Again, there's 3,116. We're not 100% sure because you didn't specify. We could go in and do a topic. We talked about doing population. Type up population, and then that narrows things down. So now you have decennial data, and then you have American community data, and then it goes down to 1,975. So different ways of kind of paring that down is always really helpful. But I'm going to go back to some of the things when you're just looking at basic information. So we put in Laredo, and you see that it has a chip right here that says Laredo City, Texas. And from here, you could then go in and do different topics. If you're looking at, health insurance or something, and you can see how it then populates and then changes. But that's not necessary. It just depends on what you're interested in doing, and then you can exit it out if you're not interested. But this is just one way to kind of look at things. I wanted to look at this far right-hand side where it says Laredo City, Texas profile. If you click on that, that's our geography profile. And this is just kind of giving you a high level look of some key data points by this geography. So if you look, these are some of the population using the 2020 census. Then you have some median household income using ACS. So kind of our high key points that are available. We're in the process of redesigning it so that, you know, one of the things that always drives me crazy is not being able to see kind of a hover or what exactly this estimate is being sourced from. So those things are being added, but just kind of giving you an idea, you can scroll down and it gives you some basic information based on the topics that we have kind of looked through. We're looking at population, income and poverty, education, employment, all of those things that are available, and some basic estimates. These estimates kind of mimic what a very popular product we have called Quick Facts on census.gov. This is just kind of a visual representation of that. So that's kind of where some of these estimates are coming from. But there's all kinds of different links to tables, to program areas that take you to different, if you click on this, it takes you to the program area page. So different ways and kind of jumping off points because we're not sure exactly what you're looking for, but you may know. Also, I really like when you have a link for a table so that we can go directly to the table that's available and find your estimates from there. So these are just some basic things, also ways of going in and clicking on mapping and pages and all those other kinds of things. So a nice kind of way to go about looking at things. All right, now let me click over and hopefully you've seen my, my next. You are back to seeing the slide deck and we're still good?
Yes, we can see your
Okay,
slide.
good. Thank you. All right. So the next we're going to talk a little bit about advanced search. So I was talking about that's that kind of faceted filter way of doing things. Just want to look at 2020 redistricting data for all counties in Texas. So let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to go back to data.census.gov. The best thing for me is to go in and click on this logo because it clears it out. I don't have to worry about it, you know, keeping Laredo or anything like that. So I've cleared it out. And then I'm going to go and start fresh. And I'm going to skip this single search bar. I'm just going to go to the advanced search. I really like this, especially when you're looking at complex geographies that are difficult to type in. Example, the block that we were going to show you soon. You can't just type in a block number and get it. You'd really have to go through the find a filter. So showing you how to do that. So the first thing we talked about was all counties in Texas. So I'm going to do the geography, and here's our geography panel. Now there's two options that you can do. Here's our most common. That doesn't mean they're all. You can scroll down and find other summary levels that are available, or you can click this toggle up here. And if you used maybe American Fact Finder and are used to our summary level codes that go along, if you know the county is 050, or, you know, all of those are place level is 160, this is a great place for you to go. But if you don't, it's completely fine to go back. But that's all. It's the same data. It's just different ways of getting it. I'm going to click on county here. And then it's going to help me drill down to, I wanted all counties in Texas. So I'm going to click on Texas. And then from there, I could go in and individually click on all of the counties in Texas, but that would be real problematic because everything is based on a URL and we have limits to that. So we have something called these collections of geographies. So if we have them, they're at the top of the list. So for here, you have all counties within Texas. I'm going to click on that and you see that it's populated right here. Perfect. You will also might have noticed the URL changing up here. And that has been changed so it accounts for all counties within Texas using some geo ID identifiers. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is do topic. I want to look at redistricting data. I can do it a few ways. I can look at the survey and drill down through the survey, going to decennial data, and then I can choose this redistricting data right here. Or I could go to topics, and redistricting is actually under government. I didn't really think about that until we were actually putting the topics together. And yes, it's part of, you know, a public law for you know, official official changes in boundaries, and so it is under government. I just think of it as population, but so just don't listen to what exactly I'm saying about this, but just know that that's where it's at if you can't find it. The nice thing is that you can just choose two things. You don't have to choose all of these things. If you don't know the survey, it's fine. If you don't know the year, it's fine. Because some of these honestly might trip you up a little bit. If you click on year and you didn't have redistricting on there, um, it would show 2020, all of these different things, but you may be choosing something that the survey is not available for. So sometimes we choose things a little bit too narrowly focused in our filters, and it's always nice to kind of go back and back up a little bit. So just some helpful hints, hopefully. All right, so I'm going back and putting redistricting, and I see they've both been added here. This button on the far right is my search button, and I'm going to click on that. And then I look, and then it shows the 6 tables for redistricting that we have for 2020 that are available. Exactly what I was looking for. And then I'm just going to click on the first one and see what they've got to offer. So the nice thing here is that we now have our tables, and we have the option for the 6 that we can choose, and we can kind of jump through if we'd like. However we'd like to do it. We can even, if you'd like more space, you can also use these little sideways chevrons and shut them if you would like, and then open back up. I sometimes like to just have my place or my different tables available so that I can go through. Sometimes you know what tables you need and you don't need that at all. So different ways of looking. This is a really nice way of looking broadly across all of the different counties. There's a tiny little circle down here. This is the slider so that you can move back and forth, just showing you how it works. And then there's always different ways we can do. You can click on maps, and that kind of shows you the power of looking at things geographically, or excuse me, visually through the mapping. And I'll show you a little bit more about that later, but just showing you different things. So back to the tables, nice way of kind of looking and seeing if you were looking at the African American population by the different areas, and then you can search and look from there. Or if you are really just looking at maybe a Hispanic population, those things are done. So now I'm going to go in, I'm going to drill down, and we're going to look at that block level data. But I'm going to use 2 of the tables that I looked at, P1 and P2. So I'm going to go from there and then show you how you can do a little bit of both. So I'm going to clear it out. And since I know the tables that I want, I'm going to type in P1, put a little space, and put P2 because I want both the tables. So I come in and it gives me those 2 tables that I'm looking for, which is fantastic because the more and more you work with census data, you start to know some table IDs. You do not have to know them at all, but if you do, you want the ability to be able to put them in. So just showing you this is a great way to be able to do it. And then you can go in and kind of manipulate once you're in the tables. But before that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch over to maps, and I'm going to drill down and find my block that I'm interested in. So I think the next question we had, sorry, I forgot the question. I just jumped in excitedly to the next, was using the search bar for P1 and P2. And we're going to look for a block in B County. All right, so I just clicked on the maps right there. Since I've only said P1, P2, that's just tables. It's not a geography. It has no idea what I'm looking for, so it just gives me all of the states. So what I want to do is tell it. So I want to use this layer button and click on that and scroll down to census block, and that'll allow for the census blocks. Now, just know that when you're looking at these fine geographies, you're going to have to use your zoom in and zoom out buttons because you know we're going to show up in Kansas or Oklahoma this time. So there you go down, and I'm going to scroll down till I get to where the county should be, and then I'm going to scroll in and start working from here. All right, okay, so there's B County. Still going to scroll down further and further and further. And then I'm actually going to click on here and click the base map. I'm going to use details because I really want to use some of these national, these monuments. I see that 59 is here. I'm going to scroll over and zooming in and out to kind of get my bearings to make sure I understand what I'm looking for. I know I'm off 202. So scrolling in, it looks like scrolling a little bit further and then start seeing some of these streets populated. And I see off of 202 is Perimeter. That's great. I'm off Independence and Constitution. Here it is. Oh, great. That's my little cul-de-sac right there. Perfect. So I'm going to select that. I am in, and now I've found that I am in block 1002 of, again, scrolling out so you can see where the track is. Here we go. Of track 950, 9502.01. So just some different ways of kind of looking at it. From here, you can go in and scroll in. You could add the rest of these tracks if you're interested in, however you'd like to do with the selection button and add a few more, or you can remove them if you're not interested in it. So just different ways that you can go in and play a little bit and look. You can also go to pull up this filter and you see which blocks have been chosen. You can go to geography and then kind of further drill down from there now that you know the numbers and what you may be interested in. So different ways of using it. I can go in and view all these blocks and see which ones. The one I wanted was this first one. I could maybe even take the rest out if I didn't want it, or however you want to do it. Just showing you different ways to work on this. Now that I have my one again, I'm going to go back to the tables and just show you a few things that you can do with our table display. So right here, this top of this ribbon of our, like the iconography of the toolbar, you can click on notes. You can see our notes and all the technical documentation that's available. You could go in and add different geographies. We talked about that a little bit. If you wanted to go in and find block and then drill down from there, if you're used to that. You could go in and change the different estimates for different years. Go to 2010. Sometimes the years, the stub of the table itself may change, but we may keep the table ID. That happens a lot, especially with ACS, where there's some changes sometimes. And that's why we don't put years together. But it's a way to kind of toggle between them and see. Things that you can do. You can transpose. I wouldn't suggest it, but some people may like it. You can always go and restore it. One thing that you can do is print. Just know that our print is not a great, um, it's not a great way. It's very difficult with how big our tables are to do a print, kind of especially like a PDF print. We have something here. I like to go in and do the settings and just change it. If you'd like to, add it or make it a little bit smaller to fit everything in there. So just know that that's available. You can also go in and what I really like to do is save, try to get the toolbar to get out of my way. There it is to cut and paste. So you don't have to you don't have to create a deep link like you did in American Fact Finder. You can just go ahead and cut and paste and it'll bring that same geography with the table up, which is really, really nice. And that's kind of highlighting this, editing of the URL. Some people really understand that. They can go in and change. You can go in here and change from P1. You can try P2. So some people really enjoy that kind of, flexibility of being able to make these changes. So anyway, just showing you some different ways that you can go about doing that. And yeah, I think that's enough. We'll go with that. I'm going to clear that off and I'm going to go to my next. All right. So I want to stick to the advanced search, and we're going to look at comparing across time and geographies. So the example is Hispanic or Latino for all census tracts in Cameron County. So go off and find that. I'm going to go back to the main Census Bureau page or data.census.gov page. I'm going to click to advanced search. And then I'm going to do my geography. And we want to tracts. So I'm going to choose tract. Scroll down to Texas. We want a Cameron. So I'm going to Cameron. And then there's that quick all the collections button I talked about. So all census tracts within Cameron County, Texas. I'm going to click on that. See on the left that it's been populated. And then I'm going to go to topic. We want a Hispanic or Latino. So I'm going to click on this race and ethnicity and show you just really quickly kind of some differences. So Hispanic or Latino, you can click on this. And then there is a bottom checkbox. So you always have to have a checkbox. Click a checkbox for the chip to populate, and that's when you know that it's been added. So by clicking on the Hispanic or Latino, I'm going to get the distribution in a geography. So that's really great, but sometimes somebody might want something different. So doing something like detailed Hispanic or Latino, that's when you get your iterations. Just know you're not going to find those iterations in all census tracts within Cameron, especially using like ACS data or something like that. It would have to be something higher up. But know where it is. Before they were separate. Now we've kind of combine them together. So making sure you know where those are. All right, so back to just needing the distributions. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and click on search and show you the tables that are available, 175 this time. If you look on the right-hand side at the top, it says view 10, 25, or 50. I really like that because I want to see as many tables as I possibly can. So I switched it to 50 so that I can see it. Some people won't necessarily care. Some people will be fine with the first one that's given to you. Just know that you have some options. So I'm going to just look at the Hispanic or Latino table P2 that we looked at for a second. Looking at Hispanic or Latino, all of these different by race or population of 2 or more races. Just looking at that main number is great for me at least. Now I'm going to map it. So I'm just going to click this toggle to map it. And then it's going to populate. It'll take you all the way down to Cameron County, all the tracks from there. But then show you some ways that you can go in and change. So I'm going to click on this variable button. And this isn't necessarily very intuitive. I've been talking with the mapping folks that does our user experience, try to get a better mapping experience. This is not great for me. But using this drop down, you can choose your variable or your value that you're looking at mapping. So I'm going to do total Hispanic or Latino. And you see that it repopulates. And then there's some other things that you can do. You can change the year. Look at 2020. We can look at 2010. And then it repopulates and see how those changes are. There's different ways of doing colors. You can change the classes. Lots of things that you can do. I like this table function right here, which kind of gives you the old time geographic comparison tables where it's one estimate across geographies. I really like that. Do you think we need to do a little bit more work adding the MOEs and making sure it's kind of fully qualified? But I like that that option is there. There's also things that you can do. You can do an identify button. This is something we've been kind of working a little bit on, but if you're looking at a track to really be able to kind of identify specifically what you're looking at, this census track within state, within county, that type of thing. And then you can exit the tool this way. So just a few things that are available. From here, I'm actually going to go in and click back to tables. As much as I like the maps, I really do like having all of the tables that are available. I do find that sometimes you know, it's hard to get, you know, coming from Census Bureau and working with it, it's hard to, the labels can get ridiculously long, but these tables are kind of like Excel in that you can kind of squish them in as you need. So it helps to see a little bit more. I'm going to go in and show you, we talked about transpose and that type of thing, but I'm going to show you how to do some downloading because honestly, if you're looking at geography, so many geographies, you're probably going to download. So this has recently changed. I'm not crazy about it, I gotta be honest, but the zip is really a download. But let me show you what that zip or download functionality is. If you click on that, you can choose which years you want, 2020, whatever you'd like, and then it's downloading a CSV, but it's going to come back as a flat file. So show you what that means. Oh, here it is. I just wasn't patient enough, sorry. All right. So now I've brought up like 4 of them, so sorry. So let me pull up the overlay. Let me just show you what it's going to look like. This is going to be for a machine readable file. Each geography is on one line. So that is definitely something that's very helpful, especially if you are manipulating the data through a program or something like that. But just know that if you're trying to show this to your coworker, this is probably not what you're looking for. If you're visually trying to show somebody, you want something that's either an export of an Excel or a CSV. So let me show you what that is. So this is the zip download. Just shut. And too many. So, okay, just move on. All right. So from here, I'm going to choose the Excel. Monica was good to point out to me that the Excel is not consistently working. So we'll see if it works or not. Does great. If not, just know that sometimes, and with success, it actually worked this time. There is a push to do a fix for next Thursday. So if you're having trouble with if the Excel version, you might want to just try the CSV option. But this gives you something that's a little bit more visually user friendly, especially if you're trying to show somebody something or print it out or, however you'd like to do it. But just showing you the 2 different options that are available. Okay, all right. So, and then the other thing is more data that I like to go to. This actually sends you to the um, the FTP site where you get the data straight from ASCII. However, some people like that, some people don't, but I like that at least there's the connection right there that you can easily get it. So just showing you those options right there. All right. Let me speed up a little bit because I know we've got limited time. I just want to show you a few other things. Okay, so last thing. Was looking at finding business data, searching by industry. The example is the economic data for the healthcare and social assistance industry for a zip code in Texas. So let me show you that really quickly. I'm going to go ahead and clear everything, going to the logo. When you're looking at something like a NAICS or anything, go ahead and click on the advanced search to take you there. I'm going to go straight to the codes. I'm going to click on this industry codes or what we call NAICS, and then I'm going to scroll down and I see the healthcare and social assistance. Now from here, I'm going to click on this one. Because I want a zip code, I'm going to have to do something very high level. So if I'm just looking at something like healthcare and social assistance, the 2-digit NAICS. Now, NAICS can go all the way down to 6 digits, which all means it's finer and finer and finer. But you're going to have to get larger with the geographies. So if I was going to look at something like a 6-digit NAICS, I probably looked at Texas. So just kind of showing you the differences. But we can, with higher level codes, like just the 2-digit with the just healthcare and social assistance, and not as you kind of drill down, everything gets more and more specific, like I'm showing you, all the way to, residential, intellectual, and development disability facilities. So just showing you those difference. But if I just wanted to do the high level, I could then go down to something like a zip code. So I'm going to go down to do, find the zip code. Oops, it's the zip code tabulation area. So from here, oh, here it is, the very first one. I'm going to look, and I can also pull up over here. I can put in, found the zip code of 78681. And I pull and do a search. I realize that one's just not working for me. I could come in and pull something else. Just know that we have recently had to take out our search right here, which is a panel search, which is very problematic, obviously, but showing you different ways that you can kind of go through and finding them. If nothing else, we can go to the table and then we can start kind of drilling down from there, and I can show you some different options. Let me do the geography first. That'd probably be help. 78681 Round Rock on this one, and then go for the NAICS 162. Then go over here. I think I messed up my order, so sorry about that if I confused you. But from here, you'll see for this specific zip code, you can get 62, which is all establishments for 2019, and then the number of establishments, annual payroll, that type of thing. When it gets to the ends, that's when there's unable to. Definitely going to see that a lot with the smaller geographies. But just showing you some options. And again, you can always drill down further in the NAICS if you wanted to give a little bit with the geography and maybe just look at states. So it's a great thing to kind of play with for sure. But different options that are available. Now, I wanted to click over because we've been just looking at tabulated data. And I wanted to talk about, but what if you couldn't find what you're looking for? This was a great example. You're looking for something very, very specific for a very, very small geography. Sometimes it's just not there. But what can we do? So a few things, some things you can't do because we, may not be able to go down to such small geographies, but some things we might be able to. So you might want to be looking at something like Microdata Access or the MDAT. So the example I wanted was single year of age for unmarried people aged 21 to 30 in Texas. So if y'all been working with census tabulated data, like you see on data.census.gov, single year of age is very, very difficult. You become very, very specific. And then especially as geographies go down and down and down, it's harder and harder to do. But using microdata allows for this. So let me show you a few things quickly. So the microdata is the same as our PUMS file, which is our public use microdata. A few things to know is that there are no personally identified information attached. It has been edited to protect your confidentiality. It is accessible on a couple of different routes, the MDAT, which I'm going to show you in a minute, as well as our API, and then those FTP sites. Also available, what microdata means are individual responses. So what that means is that you have to tabulate it, and it needs to be weighted by the data user. And so most people, they get a PUMS file, they go ahead and they download it, put it in your computer, and then they program it themselves. This allows so you don't have to program it yourself, and it makes it an easy tool to use, is what this Microdata Access tool, or MDAT. So Quickly, the differences between them are data.census.gov. It does give you more precise estimates. We include a margin of error. You have a wider range of data sets. Not everything is available in a PUMS file. Right now, we don't have economic data in PUMS files. There are fewer limitations to available geographies. You can go down in some cases for decennial all the way down to block level. And you don't have to necessarily understand the variables. Now, with Microdata Access, you are creating these custom tables, so you do need to know about some variables. You do kind of need to know, what's available, and you have to give a little bit with the geographies. So geographies, you won't be able to go down to block level or tract level. In most cases, you won't be able to go down lower than state level. Although in ACS, we do have things called PUMAs, which are areas of about 100,000. So just be mindful of that. And you have to put in a little bit work, but I find it very, very rewarding for research purposes to really kind of drill in and look at it. So let me show you an example. So using an example of just if you were looking for in 2019 for Maryland, you were looking for specifically the number of web developers in Maryland. So at the top, the tabulated data doesn't give you that information. It only goes down to computer occupations or computer and mathematics occupations, and then for males. Using the microdata, you can go down and look in this area in the bottom is that you can find specifically using the occupation code and also sex of male to the number of males in Maryland who are specifically web developers. So again, it's give and take. Just know that using the microdata access using the PUMS does kind of open things up to a lot of people. Most people are fine with the tabulated data, but if you still can't find what you're looking for, this is a great way to start. So let me go in and show you. So we use the example of single year of age for unmarried people, ages 21 to 30 in Texas. So the first thing I always suggest is go and look at our tabulated tables, see if we have that data again. You do not want to use the PUMS to create the number of, people in Texas who are in poverty. We've got that number, and it's very strong, and it has our statistical significance against it and our replicate weights. This is different if you're looking for single year of age. So for here, we don't have it. It's a great opportunity to use the microdata access. So let me show you quickly how to do that. I'm going to clear this off. Right here on data.census.gov on the top right says microdata. Click on that and it takes you to the microdata access. Now I'm going to go ahead and this is the 1 year public use. You have other samples that you can use. I'm just going to use the first one and I'm going to use 2019. I'm going to click next. All right, now see, very different. You're looking at variables now, but let's look at some ways to help, okay? So the first one we want is a marriage variable because we want to know unmarried. So I'm going to actually look at filter by topic. I'm going to scroll down, see if there's something on marriage and family, marital status and marital occupation. I click on that. And nothing comes up. Let me see what I did wrong. Hold on 1 second. I click off that. Oh, it just needed a little push maybe. I can also go in and put in a label. I can put married. That may not be the married specifically. Marriage. She may not know the label, the exact label. You can know the variable MAR. See if that comes up. The marital status does. This drop down on the far right is details. And it tells me of this, my values are married, widowed, divorced, separated, or never married, or under 15. It's exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm going to click on this. You see up here on the data card, it says 1. So that's been added. All right, so the next one I'd like is I'm going to need age. So age is right here. You can always put it as a variable name. You can click on that. I'm going to look at age. I'm going to look at the details. You see the values 1 to 99 and then 00 under 1. This is a string that I'm going to have to do a recode. And if you look at the top, it throws out a warning label that I'll have to do a recode, but that's fine. I'm going to show you how to do it. So I clicked on that, look at the data card, it says 2, and that's it. I'm good. And the next I'm going to go to select my geographies. I'm going to go to state and choose Texas. And it's been populated. Now I'm going to go back to the data cart because this is where I'm going to do my custom variables. I'm going to start with age first. It says age P. And click on this. I'm going to create custom group. Now from here, I'm then going to do 1, and I'm going to use my slider to go to 20. If you don't have a steady hand, you can type in 20, however you want to do it. And I'm going to click on these two, because I also want to include under 1. And then up here where it says group label, I'm going to change it to under 21. And I'm going to save the group. Now we have two things. We have under 21 and we have everything else. But I'm going to do an auto group, and it gives me an option of between 21 and 99. I'm going to click on that one. Now this one says a start, end, and groups of. So this is nice. So I can do 21 and I'm going to end at 30 because I want individual years. So I'm going to keep it in groups of 1. You can always change that if you have different groupings that you want, but this is a nice way of having them quickly do. And I'm going to click on auto group, and then you see that the individual ages have been populated. The last thing I'm going to do is edit this group, not elsewhere classified. That's the between 31 and 99. And I'm going to put over 30 and save the group. So now I have that. And it shows that I have a recode that's age P underscored RC1. That's my recode. Next, I'm going to go to the MAR variable. I don't want anything but unmarried. So I'm going to unclick everything, and I'm just going to keep married. I don't have to do another custom group. It'll save what I'm doing. So finally, I'm going to go to the table layout. Now this is where you can move things around and however you would like things. You can move rows and geographies. I always really like my age. You can move up columns. Yeah, the MAR, and then you can see right here what comes back. So first off, MAR, I can put MAR not on the table and just have it part of up here where my universe would be. However you want to do it, it's your table. You're making it yourself. But I do need to put age in either the columns, if you see it's populating, or I might want to switch these two and put the age in the rows and put Texas as the column. You know, I grew up at the Census Bureau. I really like the way things have been done, so I'm very comfortable doing this. So the last thing I want to do is how my values come out. I don't want an average age, I just want to count. So from here, it looks good to me. And then I'm going to go ahead and view table. Shows you that we've given it a PUMS person weight. You can go in and change it if you want to. I wouldn't suggest it, but you can always do it. And then from here, it comes out with your estimates. Just know that there's in those single years, just know it doesn't include margin of error. We're not doing calculations here. So just know that, use it with a grain of salt. Okay. All right, so I know I've given you a lot of information. Just want to make sure that you know how to use the site. We can have some questions or anything. Also, one last little plug is that we have a yearly survey to kind of gauge how data users are interacting with our site. What are we still missing? How satisfied are you? And so, would happy if y'all are able to take the survey. We would just really love your feedback. All right, so from there, I don't know, Janine or Alexa, are there any questions?
Yes, we have a couple of questions in the chat. So let me go ahead and start reading them. We had one from Jennifer. She was asking, does the P1 table give you the total population per block? And Alexa already responded saying yes, the total population per block is displayed. Then we have a question from Travis Smith. The ethnicity breakdowns will not be available at the ACS level, but at the decennial level if the area has enough population, correct? I think you just said that, but want to confirm. For example, Argentina, Belizeans, Cuban, Ecuadorian.
Right. It has to. So with ACS, they have different thresholds. It's not just the population threshold of the geography of 65,000. They have additional thresholds. So there needs to be 65,000 people in of that population group. So a lot of times you can't really drill down in geographies, but in some places that you can. But if you look at topics, you could do that race and ethnicity. If you wanted to look at detailed Hispanic or Latino, and you wanted to look at, Puerto Rican or Mexican, and then, looking at a geography of the nation, or even, going from here and going to state, you'd be able to find some of those things. But if you were to look at maybe Hawaii, you wouldn't get maybe the returns that you expected. So just be aware of some of those limitations.
Okay, and Samantha asked, can you download that layer and add it to Pro? I guess she is referring to the maps.
Download the layer and edit to Pro. Don't think
Samantha, if you're still here, maybe you can give us more details so that we can ask or respond to your question appropriately. In the meantime, Jennifer asks, can you confirm there are 2,827 new block groups in Texas?
I wouldn't.
For the
don't know.
2020 census.
I'm not sure how many were added. I don't know if that's something for you, Monica, or and I'm not sure the geographies, the differences between those. I don't know, Alexa, is that something that we've gotten a question on? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Sorry about that.
I think if we can for that question, if you can just send us an email, we'll be happy to get that answer to you and help with that. You can send it to TDC, Texas Demographic Center, tdc@utsa.edu. We'll put that in the chat as well, but we're happy to answer the question after this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our GIS department knows this answer, and we can get back to you with the whether there were that many new block groups for the 2020 census. So, and Samantha came back. She said she was the one asking for the download of the layer, and she is referring to the map section where we're talking about the map, and she wants to know whether this layer can be downloaded to Pro. Unfortunately, she can't unmute herself, so I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, right now we don't have that capability. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead and answer that question.
I was just saying, right now we don't have the capability to download the map or to even print it. But no, I think that's a good piece of feedback that we can take back for sure.
Yes, I just wanted to say I got a message from our GIS expert here on board, Dr. Jordan. He shared that for block groups in 2010 we had 15,811 block groups in Texas, And in 2020, we have 18,638. So essentially, we had an increase of about 2,800 block groups in Texas from the decades, between the decades. All right. Did you have a final slide with other resources, Kaneen, that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I sure did. Yeah, and just showing here's the link to the survey. And then also we have email updates. You'll be getting the slide deck from Monica. And then you're more than welcome. We have a resource page. It's under data.census.gov. On your main page, it's right under the search bar. It says help. It'll take you to lots of PDFs and webinars and that type of thing specifically. So, we know that people learn in so many different ways. And so we try to have different things and different ways of outreach. So if you have any questions, please let us know. We'd be happy to help.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If you can stop sharing your screen, I just wanted to make a quick announcement on this. So I want to thank Kaneen for joining us so much. And I want to thank everybody here in this space for joining us. We know this was a lot of information. I know for those of us who are sometimes still new and learning about all the amazing resources that the Census Bureau puts out, please know that they also have a great site called Census Academy, which have multiple, videos on how to access data.census.gov and use different resources like 5-minute videos that you can pause and then kind of practice on, and as well as different workshops that they constantly put up and webinars that you can actually view. So wanted to share that as well. One other announcement too is that the Texas Demographic Center is always willing to, we answer lots of data requests. So always feel free to contact us with any data requests that you might have as you're still kind of wanting, if you need to get data pretty quickly and aren't really sure how to navigate data.census.gov or need some data, for a project, please reach out to us. That's what we're here to do, is to really help and assist with any of your data requests and needs. This PowerPoint presentation, as well as the webinar, will be posted on our website, and I will be following up with everybody just to let you know where to find that. In addition, I just wanted to announce that we are hosting our annual Data Users Conference here within the month, May 24th through the 26th. In the chat, I will put the link that you can actually register. We're going to be having a series of great webinars and presenters from U.S. Census Bureau and other partners here in Texas that will be presenting, as well as, of course, the state demographer, Dr. Lloyd Potter, will also be presenting and doing his State of the State address. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon, and thank you so much, Kaneen, for taking time and joining us here this afternoon to kind of share all the new updates and great ways that you all continue to enhance the data.census.gov platform. It's a great resource, and we hope that you'll utilize the different resources out there that the Census Bureau offers. Thank you all so much, and this concludes our webinar for today. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.